Halfway across the river, scorpion stings the frog. As the frog's drowning, he says, "Why?" And the scorpion says, "Because I know no other way." Those are our politicians. And what has fundamentally changed, because a lot of people say, America really hasn't changed that much. What I think has fundamentally changed, especially in the national security arena, the rest of it probably hasn't changed as much. If you look back over the last 100 years, it was almost all men. Women weren't really in the Senate until the 60s and 70s. So we come out, after World War II, when the CIA is founded, you have a select group of gentlemen who had done one or all of three things. Survived World War I, survived the Great Depression, survived World War II. Defeated communism. Well, I shouldn't say that. Not defeated communism. Challenged communism. Defeated fascism and defeated Nazism. They came back here and they understood. They saw the horrible tours that two wars had taken, killing almost 1 million of their fellow countrymen and 20+ million people in each war, from however you want to dissect the numbers. It's a nasty business. And they saw what enemies could do. They knew how serious national security was. They sat on those committees, the Senate Select Intelligence Committee and the House Intelligence Committee, and they kept their word. They ran oversight over the CIA. That was the mechanism that kept the CIA from running out of control. We, as a society, I firmly believe, do not need to know everything that the CIA is doing. We shouldn't. I have become very good friends with one of the individuals who destroyed the waterboarding tapes. And to listen to him tell the story of how this all went down, it boggles the mind. The first thing that comes out of it is you realize we have too many lawyers in this country.
Amen.
Because everything... I'll take Sheikh Mohammed, for example. As we found Sheikh Mohammed, the mastermind of 9/11, the guy who literally said, I have an idea, let's hijack civilian airliners, fill with jet fuel, let's bring box cutters on board so we can slice the throats open of the stewardesses and flight attendants so they drown in their own blood. Well, then we'll do the same thing to the pilots. We'll turn the things around, we'll fly them into civilian buildings in the Pentagon. And this is the guy that we're supposed to, tear the nation apart over because we may have made him think he was drowning. And this is going to sound flippant to you, but I'm dead serious about this. I have an older brother, Pat. I'm one of 7, who was very sadistic. And every summer, he made me think I was drowning every day we went to the pool. And I'm not... I know some of you are like, well, that's just, torturing, Well, what did I do? I was a 7-year-old kid, and I'm not kidding you. He would put me in a shallow one, put me in a full Nelson, and put my head down until I was, my nose was just in the water and I was gasping for air. CU, okay? Fraternity week at CU, Pledge week, is worse than what we do to a lot of these guys. And that's not saying that we shouldn't curtail what goes on at Pledge week, but we have to put it into context. And here's an individual who has not signed the Geneva Convention, intentionally targets civilians, won't meet us on the battlefield, won't put on a uniform. What's his beef? By the way, nobody stops and says, what's his problem? What is Al-Qaeda's problem with us? What did we really do to upset them? I have my new campaign cry this last week on tour is, who do you think upset Al-Qaeda more, George Bush or Britney Spears? It's a trick question, because they attacked us before George Bush was in office, for starters. The reality is, it was Britney Spears. And if you understand Islamic radical fundamentalism, you have to understand feminism and the equality of the sexes. That is what scares them more than anything. They do not want modernity. They do not want women to have a voice in what goes on in their community, in their tribe, in their village. Can you imagine for a minute if there was a cult down in Colorado Springs or a Lutheran church up the road where some minister was getting up on Sundays? First of all, the women had to go sit in a separate church, okay? It was only the men. And this minister got up and started recruiting teenage boys to come become suicide bombers. What do you think the moms would do if they found out about that? They'd flip. And for darn good reason. Until women get their voice back until they get it for the first time in the Islamic community, I don't think we're going to solve this problem. That's my big spiel on where we're headed with this. I wasn't planning on getting quite that political with it, but I think it's the great hope, because I am a hopeful person. I don't think that it's all just going to end with a scorched rock here, the third planet from the sun. I do think that we will survive this thing eventually, but we have to be willing to do some tough things. And as a nation, we need to demand more of our leaders. And they need to, in turn, act like adults and put the country before their own political party. I laugh about this whole issue with, there was a big flap a couple months ago because it got out in the press, it was leaked, that the CIA talked to Blackwater about possibly hiring them to assassinate high-value Al-Qaeda targets. They talked to him about it. They never gave him a dime. They never did it. And what happened on Capitol Hill? The usual suspects ran to the mics and went berserk about it. Now, let's back up for a minute. Does everybody know what the CIA's job is? It is to break the laws of other countries. In the simplest form, every day around the planet there are CIA operatives who are recruiting people who are foreign citizens to work for us. They're breaking into apartments and offices. They're hacking into computer networks. They're bribing people. They're doing all kinds of things that, by the way, other countries are doing to us on a daily basis as well. So, if we are going to begin to prosecute CIA employees for illegalities, such as rough interrogation techniques, well, why don't we start rounding them up for hacking into foreign computer systems and breaking and entering into apartments? It doesn't make a lot of sense. And I go back to that great Winston Churchill quote that is also attributed to George Orwell. Rough men stand ready in the night to visit harm upon those who would do harm to us. We are not a politically correct world. We might be a politically correct Denver and Minneapolis, or people would like us to be, but the reality is the world's a tough place. And you can't just simply be nice to your enemies and make these problems go away. Look where it's gotten us with Iran. That's a subject for another night. We're gonna back off that. We're gonna open